Hello everybody, my name is Rose Thorne and today I am doing a book review. I am doing a review on the book of poetry by Jim Morrison entitled The American Night. The Writings of Jim Morrison, Volume 2. So I did a book review on his book of poetry entitled The Lords and the New Creatures, and I wanted to do a follow-up video for his second book of poetry. Now, if you're someone coming to this channel, and you're watching this video, you are probably a big fan of The Doors or Jim Morrison. You're a fan of his singing and the fact that he is the front man for The Doors. But what a lot of people don't realize is that before Jim became the frontman for The Doors, he was a very prolific writer. And he was very much interested in books. He was always reading stuff. That's how he started out. He started out as a poet. He started out as someone always reading stuff. And then when he transitioned to being the singer for The Doors, a lot of his poetry turned into songs for The Doors. So if you are a fan of The Doors music, if you are a fan of the lyrics of that music, basically you're listening to Jim's poetry set to music. So you're a fan of his poetry too without even knowing it. So going back to The American Night, the writings of Jim Morrison, I have read this entire book. And for those that are wondering, you've never read Jim's writing before, if you're wondering how was he as a writer, what kind of poetry did he write? A lot of his writing is very colorful, is very visceral. There's a lot of imagery. His writing style, he was very much influenced by beatnik poets and poetry of his time. And a lot of his poetry is very abstract and open-ended. Think Salvador Dali, only in written form. It's very open-ended and it's very much in the tone of he's leaving it up to interpretation of the reader. You know, you can almost imagine what was going on at the time that he wrote the poem, but you're not exactly sure. But it's okay because he's writing the poem in a style that if you are a poet or a writer or just someone that you appreciate poetry, you can read the poem and you can form your own mental picture of what you think he means. So I'm going to read you a couple of poems from the book. I got a couple of pieces already picked out here. This book, by the way, it's a bit bigger than The Lords and the New Creatures. A lot of that has to do with this book. It has, let's see if I can find one. So you've got like different out pages, printed lyrics. You've got different pages printed out of where Jim was actually writing the lyrics, writing the poetry. They did like a copy paste thing with that. And there's a lot of pages that they're lyrics to the songs of The Doors. So you've got the lyrics for LA Woman, you've got the lyrics for The End, Celebration of the Lizard King. A lot of the lyrics for those songs are printed here, along with poetry that did not end up becoming songs for The Doors. So let's see, one of the poems for Jim. Here's one. I touched her thigh and death smiled. We have assembled inside this ancient and insane theater to procreate our lust for life and flee the swarming wisdom of the streets. The barns are stormed and the windows kept, and only one of all the rest to dance and save us. With a divine mockery of words, music inflames temperament. When the true king's murderers are allowed to roam free, 1,000 magicians arise in the land. Where are the feasts we were promised? Where is the new wine? The new wine dying on the vine. Here's another one. A hot, sick lava flowed up, rustling and bubbling. The paper face, mirror mask, I love you, mirror. He had been brainwashed for 4 hours. The LT puzzled in again. Ready to talk? No, sir, was all he'd say. Go back to the gym. Very peaceful meditation. Air base in the desert, looking out Venetian blinds, a plane, a desert flower, cool cartoon. The rest of the world is reckless and dangerous. Look at the brothels, stag films, exploration. So as you can see, there's no real one direction that you go through with the entire poem. It's abstract, it's open for interpretation, it's up to you how you take the words. This book is one of those things that you read, and at first you don't quite understand it because there's no direction in how your mind is supposed to think about the poetry, but once you read it a couple of times, or you think about it, maybe different poems will mean different things to you at different times. If you are a Jim Morrison fan or a Doors fan, do I recommend you getting these books? Absolutely, because if you are an admirer of Jim Morrison, if you are an admirer of the Doors, this is kind of a more personal look at Jim Morrison, who he was, the way his mind worked. So I would recommend getting The American Night. And the good thing about both these books, if you go on Amazon, if you go on eBay, you can pretty much find them for cheap, unless you're one of those poetry book snobs that you want to get the first or second edition or signed. Then of course it's going to be much more expensive. The beauty about poetry books is that they don't have to be brand new and first or second edition to give off their beauty. You can just read a used book and it's still going to be as wonderful as if it were brand new. So, great book, The American Night. If you are into beatnik or just really abstract, colorful poetry, you'll absolutely love this book, as well as Lords and the New Creatures. Also, if you're someone that you are curious about Jim Morrison's poetry, and maybe you're not sure if you want to spend money on the books, you're not quite certain of it, I can give you some good news. There are lots of videos, there's lots of videos on YouTube, Jim's poetry set to music. I have actually found videos of An American Prayer, which is something that Jim did, and also Lords of the New Creatures. I put all of his poetry set to music in a playlist on my channel, and I'm going to put a couple of links for a couple of those videos on the playlist in the description. So if you want to check out his poetry without spending a dime, that's a good way to do it. You can just go on YouTube and look at my playlist, or go on YouTube and do some research, and you'll find plenty of his work without, it costing you any money. So I hope you guys have enjoyed this book review. Thanks for watching, and have a wonderful day. Peace out.